Welcome, everybody. It's Alida Hernandez, Rebooted Mindset. I'm back again on this lovely Tuesday in Florida. And today, of course, try to bring you the best that I can bring you. So today I have Dr. Peter Amato, and he is a doctor and he works at Inner Harmony Wellness Center, which he does a holistic approach to helping children with autism. And so we're going to learn some stuff today. I'm very interested about this conversation because the statistics that I read in 1985, it was zero point 0.4 children out of 100 or 1,000 or out of 1,000. It was zero point 0.4 children out of 1,000 would be on the spectrum. Now it's in 2014, it went to 1 in 36 children. So it's gotten worse. There are more children that now have come that are falling in that line of the spectrum, autism spectrum. So let's see what the doctor can tell us today about how we can help our children. And even before that, I guess before we get pregnant too, was probably something to talk about too, on see what we can do to help these children out there. So let's bring in Doctor, and let me just get some nice clapping for Mr. Dr. Amante. Hello. Thank you so much for being here, Doctor.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me, Alida.
Yeah, I get a lot of emails and I read through everything, unbelievably, but certain things always stand out to me. And when I saw your information regarding helping detoxify, right, natural detoxifying techniques for autism spectrum disorder, I just went, oh, I got to talk to him because what we can do naturally to help these children right now. I guess tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into this journey.
Sure. Well, first of all, I ended up in a rehabilitation center for drugs and alcohol at 38 years old. Not a grudge or a judge. I'm 30 years sober. And
very good. Congratulations.
Upon leaving, thank you so much. And upon leaving treatment, I went back to college, and 10 years of college and 29 years of practice later, here I am. So I'm a board certified doctor of natural medicine. I have a Ph.D. in mind-body medicine and integrative health sciences. Mm. So I opened up my first clinic in 1997, and here we are, almost 30 years later. Seen thousands of people worldwide, children, adults, and wow. Had a great career.
So when you started studying for medicine, did you decide on natural medicine as an alternative?
I did. And, I've never been a fan of pharmaceuticals. And I watched my dad, he was sick in his life with chronic heart fatigue. So I watched my mom do her best to try to, feed him properly, and juice fasting. And, we were off to the General Nutrition Center vitamin store every week, and just trying to do a lot of natural things. Meditation at the time, I remember he was reading books, the Silva Mind Control Method, and just anything we could do to try and bring longevity and peace to him. And I think we got a lot of extra years out of his life, and it was sad to see him pass. He actually passed away, third heart surgery, and died on the table. The stitches didn't heal. The operation was a success, but back then they didn't have staples. They didn't have what they have today. So technology is amazing, but for what's going on today with our chronic conditions, we need more of a natural approach to be able to address the root cause.
Yeah, I believe that, and I'm happy that you're doing that because, like I said earlier, I was talking to you. I try to do things naturally. I don't like pharmaceutical drugs. I mean, the medical industry, I just want to say that medical industry has some incredible things out there, right? For surgeries, for major emergency, I always say. So you break a leg, you have to have something's wrong with your stuff, heart, they can operate you and they can fix you up now. But it's the medicines. And that's the concern. It's like, is it doing better or is it making it worse? Who knows?
Absolutely. Yep, the technology is amazing. I had a hip replacement a few years ago, and I walked out of the hospital with a new hip the same day. It was unbelievable to me. So you have a car accident or an acute bacterial infection, or you need a surgery or a joint replacement, unbelievable. So I have nothing bad to say about the medical system, except, like I say, their education really never taught them how to treat the problems of today, which are chronic conditions rather than acute conditions like years ago.
Yeah, yeah. So what has changed since 19 well, a lot of things have changed since 1985. Let me rephrase that. So in 1985, I mentioned in the research, it says that zero point 0.4 children out of 1,000, right, were on the
Yes.
spectrum. Now it's down to 1 in 36. So has there been any causes that people are saying that is causing this more and more in our children?
Well, actually, that would depend who you would ask, right? And that becomes the issue itself, is that, in our society today, things have rapidly changed in the last few decades, with civilization and the growing of the population, technology. Uh, so we're finding a lot of situations that have become really prevalent in the medical literature. I'm all about data and reviewing the medical literature on situations to try to find out more what's happening and what are the underlying causations of problems. And there's been a tremendous amount of peer-reviewed medical journal literature on a few different areas. See, I'm a different type of doctor. We approach it differently in our testing. I'm not a DO or an MD. I don't diagnose or treat. What we do is test and remediate. And for us, that really gets to the root cause. And then we have a scaffolding system where we remediate all underlying causes, like peeling the layers of the onion.
Okay.
So what has been expressed in the literature is that there's been a lot of incidents regarding electropollution, for one thing. Okay, so the cell phone towers, the 3G, the 5G,
Right.
have really caused a lot of the uptick in autism, and that's scientifically proven in a lot of the literature,
Hmm.
that they suffer a lot of brain and gut inflammation with the cell phone towers, routers in homes, highly electrified areas
Wow.
are really waking up. See, these viruses, autism spectrum disorders, a lot of times the underlying root cause is viral. Okay.
Mm.
So, these are things that would not be found in blood work. And that's the problem. The gold standard is the blood work, right? And
Right.
the different types of testing. But when kids are suffering from communication issues, behavioral issues, as well as social interaction, there's a myriad of underlying causations, and every situation is different. So autism in one person is different than autism in another person.
Huh.
So when we talk about what are the possible root causes, what we have found is electropollution is a big determinant factor as a root cause of autism. The second one is heavy metal toxicity,
Mm.
which, believe it or not, the metals in our teeth, the aluminum in our teeth, mercury toxicity. Uh, I don't know if you're aware of these chemtrails in the sky that we see anymore.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's actually, been proven to be the government's weather modification program that is actually raining aluminum on us. So, the aluminum is getting in our water, it's getting in the soil, it's getting in the fields, the crops, the food. So I would say probably 4 out of 10 people we see in our office suffer from heavy metal toxicity
Mm.
coming from, whether it be the food, dental amalgams in their mouth, water, fluoride in the water purification system. So these are we're heavily laden with toxins, and these
Yeah.
are a couple of the top 2 areas causing the autism. The third, I would have to say, believe it or not, is oftentimes inherited. You see, we're all inoculated from small with the vaccines, and the vaccines, they load us with vaccines to prevent what may wake up later in life. So vaccines are not always a bad thing, but sometimes they turn bad.
Mm.
You see, so there's certain things within the vaccines For example, like Epstein-Barr virus and the herpes virus is
Yeah.
prevalent in our society. So oftentimes the electronics can wake up these viruses, and then you have autistic symptoms.
Wow.
And that's becoming what we're finding out to be the root cause. This could be passed
Hmm.
on even from generation to generation. So, moms having babies could have autism and not know it because they've never had any symptoms in their lifetime.
Wow.
But they
So
could be
so it's
passing on what's called these retroviruses. They're called human endogenous retroviruses. So the babies are often born with autism and it's silent until it's not.
oh. Oh, so you might not know. They could be born and they look fine, and then all of a sudden they could be whatever age and it could come up.
Sure, that's why we have adult onset as well.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
So what you're saying is because people, so the environment is causing a lot of our human problems that we're having. The environment
Most
itself.
most all of them, and then you could add the Roundup, which is
Oh yeah, the
glyphosate.
glucosate. Yeah, glucosate. Yeah, I know.
Another big problem. We test for all this within 1 hour. We test for so many things, and we get to the root cause within an hour of our testing procedure. It's the new
Wow.
medicine basically. It's a bioregulatory medicine. It's a quantum physics based cellular resonant medicine that we do, which very few people in the country even do it. We have clients from all over the world. We treat virtually or in our offices.
That's incredible. I'm happy to hear that. I've looked into quantum healing and some other scalar light is one of them, um, and there's several out there that I've looked into. And I'm happy that you said about the environment because a lot of times people, you know how it is. It's a conspiracy. Everything's a conspiracy nowadays. You say a fact and oh, where'd you come up with that? The 5G towers, the amount of electricity. I worked in IT, in computers, right, since
Mhm.
1982. So I was in front of computers. My office used to be in the server room where
Wow.
all the computers were, all the electronics. Didn't know, okay? And I had suffered physically with some things during my life, not knowing, not really not knowing. And now I have different devices. I don't have my necklace, but I have like my girlfriend sells these. If you see this pyramid, it's
Yep.
shungite,
Yep.
shungite. So shungite, and you know what shungite is. It helps with absorbs the EMF and electrical things that you have in your house and so on. So there's little things out there that you can help. I actually have shungite powder, which I'm painting my outside wall because the electrical is right there, trying to shield my house.
Yep. You want to shield that smart meter for sure. Shungite, I keep it all around the office myself. We use scalar waves every day. We have rife frequency, and this is the new medicine. It's all about treating the body and testing the body from an energetic standpoint. In other words, we're electrical beings before we're mechanical beings.
Exactly.
And we see probably half of our clients come into our office and they're basically suffering from autonomic nervous system dysregulation. In other words, their mind is not connected to their body. And they're coming in and saying, I just don't feel right. I don't know what's going on. I've been to all the doctors and nobody could figure anything out. But I have brain fog. I have digestive symptoms. My energy is low. I don't sleep. All of these chronic conditions. And a lot of it has to do with a mind body dysregulated system. In other words, they're living in fight or flight or freeze or fawn, just kind of going through the motions of life, but they're disconnected.
Mm,
We find that out within the first 5 or 10 minutes of a visit. And in that same visit, we get them back regulating. We give them some tools how to stay regulated, and their whole life changes. And a lot of times, they don't need a lot of medicine because it was just a matter of reconnecting the mind and the body and let the autoimmune system do its work.
wow, that's incredible because that sounds like me because I went through a period of time with the brain fog and I still suffer a little bit from it. Like some days is worse than others, and I'm like, what is going on for months?
Yeah,
And so
it's
yeah, and
prevalent with people who work in tech.
well, I was sitting in front of a monitor. I got like two monitors next to me. That I got the shungite right here. I
Yep.
have a necklace, I have bracelets, I have different things that I use too.
Yep.
And but you don't know, you wonder. I've been in technology for so long. Who knows? I always say the symptoms, like when I had my stroke 8 years ago. Hey, it could have been any of that. I I was working in a technology company. During that time, I made it home, but I had the stroke when I was working at this high tech company. So who knows?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But we test people, and then we say, well, what do you do for your livelihood? And it's always connected at some level somewhere.
Well, with this thing, right, that we have on us all the time, I have a shungite sticker on here, so
Yep.
could one to
I do as
shungite stick.
well. Yeah, you're doing a lot of great things. Wherever we can remediate EMF fields, we do it.
I just
But you
saw a
can
lot of
imagine how this is affecting autistic people.
they already
You know,
they already have a physical issue already. So then on top of that, if I'm getting brain fog, what is it doing to the autistic person?
right. It's waking them up and causing havoc on their nervous system, for starters.
Wow. This is sad. It's sad that we don't realize people create things. Like I always say, we're guinea pigs to these cell phones, right? Because we've been
Yeah,
using them, and now people can discover after 30 years. Okay, is my hand problem because I hold my phone? Like all these different things that come up that you don't know what's causing the issue.
absolutely. Yeah.
And between the water, where I live now, they taking the chlorine out finally, but there's still heavy metals. There's still other things in the water. So it's kind of hard. What do you do with, things like that if you can't afford to buy water?
Well, that's the big question, right? You want to try to buy yourself at least some type of countertop system that cleanses the water. They're reasonably affordable. It's a one-time purchase, and you hook it into the pipe right under the sink, and it takes out most of the bacteria and the viruses. A little bit extra money, you could even have the water raise and elevate the pH in the water.
Mm,
It's good to have a high degree of pH in
yeah.
your water. That really helps quell, any inflammation or any acidic aspects of the gastrointestinal digestive system. Past that, that's probably the least expensive way to purify your water. Nobody wants to be buying bottled water. It's expensive
No.
the way it
And
is.
it's in
Plus, you have the
plastic.
plastic. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say it's in plastic. So I was like, I
yep,
can't find, and then the only bottled water. I'm not gonna name the name, but there's a bottle of water that comes in a glass jar and a glass bottle.
that's
But it's
right.
expensive.
That's right. It's expensive. So if you could do an in-house situation and clean up your best water, that's a good start for people.
Yeah,
You
especially
know,
yeah, and like I said, and they'll have tell people to try to eat as clean as possible. No fast food, none of that stuff with all more chemicals,
no,
and we don't need
and if
that.
no, and if you cannot afford to buy organic, at least scrub your veggies and fruits. You could scrub them, with some reasonably affordable things
Yeah.
that take the toxins off and the wax and all this bad stuff.
Wow.
So there's ways to do it affordable. Be
So
creative.
when did you start the Inner Harmony Wellness Center?
We started in 1997.
Oh,
Yeah, we were one of the first in the country to open up a holistic wellness center. Um, and I got really involved in it. I got involved nationally. I got involved in the politics of trying to bring, at the time we were calling it complementary and alternative medicine, to the mainstream. So I became very, very close with one of the leaders in the field, Dr. Andrew Weil. He's written tons and tons of books. He's on PBS a lot on television, and we became friends, and he appreciated my work. And actually, we became partners. I was the chairman of his board.
mm,
And we created in Washington, D.C., in the National Institute of Health, a division called the National Center for Complementary and Alternative Medicine,
oh,
whereas our state senator funded that for $5 million to start doing research on complementary and alternative medicine.
wow.
Today, that still exists, and the annual budget is $160 million. So even though people don't always see natural medicine as mainstreamed, It really is getting recognized and being researched in a big way. And it's only a matter of the medical schools trying to catch up to the new way of seeing patients, but they're so embedded in the old system that they don't want the people to get better. They need to keep them as lifelong patients.
Well, I'm happy to hear that you did that in Washington and that it's still around, and hopefully Mr. Kennedy will be involved in that and try to help get more of this mainstream holistic medicine. That, I mean, you must have gone through stuff in '97 to bring this. People probably thought you're crazy or something, like, what are you doing?
That's right, and some of them still do, to be honest with you. But truth be known, I might be having a meeting with Kennedy, just
Ooh,
because he's very interested in this type of medicine because you know it can save trillions of dollars. Just think if we didn't need medical schools, we didn't need big pharma, nobody got sick. Just think of all the money the country could save. And it's really
yeah,
that simple because we work with probably 95% of our people get 100% better in 3 to 6 visits, live or virtual.
wow,
That's how amazing the technology has gotten for us, doctors to be able to find the root cause, remediate it. Our doctors, scientists, we work with people all over the world, Russia, Germany. I'm always on the cutting edge of what's working and how do we get it. So we deal with all grade 10 organic nutraceuticals, all the latest technology to be able to, as you said earlier, um, it's really about the electrical body. So it's about energy,
right,
it's about frequency. And if we keep the energy body lit up properly at the cellular level and the neurotransmitters firing in the brain, connected to the hormones, connected to the digestion, and the immune system is really rocking and rolling, people stay healthy and we don't get sick. And then it's a matter of what's waking up that might have been there for how long, or food poisoning, the bad food and the diet that we
oh.
live on, the standard American diet. This is really the root of the problem.
Well, I'm happy to hear your confirmation on that, because that's what I've been trying to say on this program for the longest time. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't understand people. Why don't you get it?
It's fascinating, right? We're so entrenched in the paradigm. When you look at it, like we all need to have a primary care provider. But when I look back at my 30 years of experience in the medical system, nothing has changed. Zero. They still give you their pharmaceuticals and their tests, and they only treat the symptom.
Yep.
We have so many clients. It's prevalent in our office where people have either their thyroid removed or their gallbladder removed, right? And there's no reason to ever have either one of them removed.
Thank you.
So that goes to show you where they're at. So from a functional medicine perspective, just think about the fact that a thyroid gland is only one gland in the endocrine system. That starts in the brain and ends up all the way down to the male and female parts down the body, adrenals, kidneys along the way. So
Mm.
who's to say it's not one of the other organs or glands that either need to be detoxified or need to be brought in some supplementation that we might be deficient in minerals or vitamins in that system.
Yep.
Let's start there and get that little Christmas tree all back lit up again.
Exactly.
And then the thyroid works.
Yeah, that is so true. And I just a little story. I just went through that. I went to the doctor, took my blood, and they said I had a hyperthyroidism. So I was losing weight. And I was like, what's wrong? And I had the brain fog and the stomach, the whole thing, right? I'm like, something's not right. I could feel it. I'm not right. I'm off. Like I'm not. So went to the doctor. Of course, she gives me 2 different pills. I looked at them. I threw them out. Honestly, I threw them out. I said, I'm not
Yeah,
going to take that, because why are you giving me a pill? Because, oh, you have hyperthyroidism. Take this. No. What is the problem with it? So I
right.
went to a Chinese acupuncture office,
Yeah,
spoke to the doctor there, and she gave me a whole thing. I did 3 weeks of herbal of the tea, the medicine,
yeah,
liquid. twice a day for 3 weeks. Fine, I'm fine now.
Right.
Because I had an imbalance, and she was telling me about the stomach and the kidney, and she was explaining all that, and she explained everything to me. I'm like, well, that makes more sense.
Right. Just connect the dots, right? And that's what they do in traditional Chinese medicine.
They do what you're saying, how you have to look
Yeah.
at the root. Where's it coming from? Where
Right.
is the root of the problem? And it's not the thyroid itself is not the problem, it's something else that affecting the thyroid.
Correct. It's always an imbalance in a system. What else could it be? It's either toxins, allergens, or deficiencies.
Mm,
That's all it could be. Unless it's mental emotional stuff, and that's another
right. And that's a
discussion.
whole
But
nother gamut, right?
yeah,
But sometimes the emotional, like my brain fog was so bad that I was debilitated. Like I was in bed 2 days a week. I couldn't get out of bed like for a
yeah,
couple of months. I was really bad. So the mental issue I was having was a physical issue,
yeah.
not I just got depressed. It was so there's a fine line. So I tell people you have to see if you're having mental, see how your body's doing first before you can adjust the brain, right?
That's right. That mind-body connection is so critical for our health.
So I'm happy I'm learning. I guess I'm learning good.
Yeah, you sure are. And there's simple at-home ways to keep the mind and the body in sync that we teach our clients. And if and when they come and they're dysregulated, with our nutraceuticals, we get them back in regulation 3 to 5 days, with some organic capsules.
Oh, I'm gonna have to come visit you.
Yeah, and we test through online. Even we don't even need to see anybody.
Oh, really?
We test a cell phone picture anywhere in the world. That's how it's almost like AI, quantum
Okay.
medicine. Yeah,
Yeah, that's exactly how scalar light they did it to the photograph.
same thing.
Yep.
Scalar, yeah, Rife therapy. We've been
Yep.
doing it for 20 some years this way with
Wow.
100% results. In the beginning, I was a skeptic, and I said, "Well, I can't charge people." So I would give it away, family and friends. I said, "Well, try it, and if it works, pay me." And it was working. So I said, "All right, I guess I have to believe that this works, through the airwaves." And it did, and it's been proven time after time. Now it's even in the medical literature. We're writing papers
Oh,
and books about it now.
I'm impressed. I'm
Yeah,
impressed that we got into that point because it took me a little bit of trying to understand how can you give me something through a picture, but we're energy. So our picture is our energy. It shows our energy. It's
yeah. There's tons of studies now where they've done what's called remote healing, where they've taken groups of people, and some were, even with prayer, some were prayed for and some weren't prayed for. And it was always significant that the group that was prayed for did much better. And these are all in the medical literature. So this isn't anecdotal or hearsay or a conspiracy theory. This has
right.
actually been proven. And now with the advent of the introduction of quantum physics into medicine, it's really gotten much more profound even, because they've
That's
brought the technology up to speed now to be able to, in a nanosecond, be able to connect with anybody anywhere in the world, and boom.
wow.
I have
It's really
a
mind
system,
blowing.
a biofeedback system that in 3 minutes, it runs 15,000 signatures through a human, 15,000 possibilities in 3 minutes. That's how quick it is to find out what's going on with somebody.
Wow. It's an AI for our bodies, huh?
Exactly is. You're exactly right. That's what it is.
Wow, that's incredible. I know that Tesla invented many things in his time, and a lot of this the quantum healing, the quantum stuff is from him. That he started it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I write about him in my book called The New Medicine, Moving Beyond Our Crisis of Perception,
Oh,
coming
interesting
out
book.
this year. Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, I have to check that out too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I teach this work now. So,
Oh, okay. So you're
yeah.
teaching as well. You're teaching
Yeah.
in the medical schools or
No, in the private sector.
private? Okay.
Yeah. 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 And I've done research, with Harvard, Duke, all the big, Georgetown, all the big universities over the years.
Wow. So anybody can come to into your wellness center, Inner Harmony.
Inner Harmony. Yeah. We're in Pennsylvania, and I'm seeing people in South Florida now. And I also see them virtually. So we do Zoom calls, or phone calls anywhere in the world, and 3 to 6 visits were pretty much finished up with people, and they can't
Wow.
believe it.
Yeah, I would say I can't believe it either, but I've experienced it
Yep.
before, so I know for a fact that this works. And I told
Yeah.
many people about it. I had the founder of Scalar Light. Unfortunately, he passed away, which was a really shock. But I had him on the podcast a couple of times, talking about Scalar Light and trying to understand how this quantum energy works. And I mean, really can't really put your finger on it in the sense of to really understand it.
Yep. It's a mystery.
It's like God's divine energy, whatever, just
That's
boom,
right.
snap.
It's the same thing. It's like trying to define God, right? It's the same thing. They
Exactly.
probably did the same. But as long
Exactly.
as the proof is in the pudding, is all I know.
Yep. Exactly. So you found with doing all of this that it's helping. How is it helping our artistic children and people out there? It's detoxifying their bodies. What is it doing for them?
So each case is different, right? So it's oftentimes neuroinflammation. So that's the problem happening in the brain.
Mm,
Oftentimes it's in the digestive system. So it's brain, it's sleep, it's digestion. So until the first thing we do is we balance the autonomic nervous system, if that's
mm,
the case. Therefore, we're balancing the neurotransmitters in the brain. The
mm,
synapses is that fire. Okay, so it helps them get more clear in their communication level. If it is virus related, we quell the viruses, right? We can never eliminate viruses, but we can quiet them down. And that's the key. If it's viruses or retroviruses, we calm them down. If it's toxicity, whether it be from glyphosate, mold, fungus, yeast, bacteria, parasites, heavy metals, we could target that on the first visit and begin to clean up their system of any toxicities. If there's metals in the teeth, we do that. We test them for electropollution.
mm.
We have tinctures to remediate the electropollution, which we do for a lot of techies as well. It's a tincture under the tongue, kind of like shungite, except it goes in the body and
Ooh,
seals you off from the inside out.
wow.
So I take it every day because I'm on the computer a lot, and
Oh, I'm
I
always
get,
on the computer.
yeah, you should just get a bottle. It's relatively inexpensive and bulletproof your immune system
Yeah.
to keep that mind connected to the body. See, because what happens is the inflammation, it silences what we call methylation and acetylation. Methylation and acetylation, these are enzymes that the body requires and manufactures, but when the body and the viruses are there alive and waking up, it stunts all that, and it really just stops the
Mm.
systems from functioning properly. And then the symptoms get louder and louder and louder, and you end up with behavior and social problems. Mercury in the teeth is a problem. Even like people get autism like from blood transfusions. You can even get it from inhalation, from breathing on somebody. You know,
Wow.
uh, vaccines, of course, genetic intercourse. It can be passed on any which way, and nobody would ever even know where it came from. That's the problem.
So you can pass the autism virus, or what? How would you say
Yeah,
that? Autism virus to a person?
absolutely. It's more prevalent than people even know.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, because it cannot be in the same. It could skip a generation even.
Wow. Huh.
See, it's all a matter of waking up. So just think about it that it's become 1 in 36. Why is that, right? Because it's being woken up in people like never before. So a lot of people might have had, autism, but it never woke up, never became a symptom. Like when you hear about, or we all know people that are mild on the scale, you know, on the ASD scale, they have
Right.
mild autism.
Right.
They're a little slow, or they might have a tick or something, but nobody would ever say, "Oh, they have autism," right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But the reality is they do, but it just never wakes up that way or is ever tested that way.
Huh. That's really concerning.
Yeah. So you have to test, at a level that's way beyond blood work, and then find out the integration and functionality of the individual as far as who's got what symptoms, what is the root cause of the symptom, and how do we get rid of it.
Wow.
It's really interesting. There's been research in the last maybe 5 years of something that's working real good. I'm going to just tell you
Mm-hmm.
that you never guess that somebody would find this to be a really wonderful way to slow down the behavioral aspects of kids. How about its nicotine patches? Now, you'd never think that would even come on radar, right?
Wow.
That they're using nicotine patches, on the backs of children, and it's quieting down the symptoms at least 50%. Now, it's got to be done right. It's a certain kind of patch. It's a certain size. It's a certain milligram. So, don't try this at home. But the research, that's the latest and greatest we have found to really stop and slow down autism in kids with their
Wow.
learning behaviors.
And they don't get affected by the nicotine itself because it's putting out nicotine, right?
It does a whole different job than you would imagine.
Huh. Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. It's like you hear the fact sometimes they say, well, take this heart medicine, but it's really for your liver. You know how that goes? So here, don't worry about smoking, but we're going to quiet down your behavior with some nicotine. It's crazy, but the research is there. And I know doctors, one of my top docs I study with is in Germany, and he's been doing this. In fact, he probably wrote the peer-reviewed medical journal, 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees tons and tons of autistic children and families. He's my leader and my guru as far as knowing what to do with autism.
Wow.
Because he's proven it. He's in his 70s or 80s now. He's been doing this for 50 years. He's an MD.
Wow. That's
approach.
Never heard of this before. Autism, like a virus that you can actually pass to other people. That's
Yep. HERV, human endogenous retroviruses.
wow. That's
And
and it just kind of like lives inside of you. You don't even know it.
Yeah. It's like 80% of the people have herpes, but not everybody gets herpes. If you get a cold sore on your lip or something, it's like, oh, I got a cold sore. Well, yeah,
Right.
because you were given that injection as a baby. We're all given the herpes shot to prevent herpes. But if you get weak or you have a cold or you get a fever,
get one.
Yeah. So that's the vaccine kind of doing its job.
Oh, okay. Because I've gotten those when I got like really run down, really bad sick, and all of a sudden you get that sore. Oh, what the heck? And you're getting a cold, and sometimes it's inside, outside, but you have some kind of cold or something bug.
Yeah. So that's the vaccine doing its job.
Huh.
See, so there's goodness in vaccines. People don't understand.
Yeah, no, I believe that too. It just the 2020 thing and all that it just blew up. Okay. That was a whole nother, thing. But I mean, as kids, we've had the vaccines and I would ask questions and I have one son that I don't know if it was the vaccine or what it was, but he went from being the normal process of speaking, and he was about 3.5, and all of a sudden he just couldn't speak anymore. He started making up words. He couldn't communicate with me at all. So they said he had ADHD, and I went through that whole freaking mess with medicines and stuff. And then I mean, he's super intelligent. He's a data analyst now. He's going to be 29 years old, and he's doing awesome. But just thinking about that, I'm going to tell him about you because I would love him to go and see you and just be tested, because you never know what's still lingering.
Yeah, absolutely. And the problem is what they make these vaccines from, what they put in the vaccines. In other words, for many generations, they've put heavy metals in vaccines, and that's proven in the literature to be one of the primary causes of a lot of diseases and issues, even autism.
Yes.
And, not to go astray here, but the COVID shots, the 4 or 5 COVID shots, we've actually dismantled all 4 or 5 brands of shot.
Mm-hmm.
And we looked at everything that's in the shot, spike protein, whatever. So we deal a lot with long COVID, people that are still suffering from COVID or the shot. And what we find is they were allergic to something in the shot.
Oh,
Not the shot itself, but it could be one little thing in the shot.
right,
Could be the heavy metals, could be the spike protein,
right.
could be a handful of things. But in one visit, we know what it is that's affected them in what shot, and we begin remediation and cleaning them up and detoxifying,
Wow.
like we would have done with your son, which was probably the issue.
Mm-hmm. That's
So that's
see.
how sophisticated and elegant the medicine has gotten in my world.
Wow, that's that. I mean, I'm surprised, but I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm so
Yeah,
happy that you're doing this and that there are others out there to support this because this is what we need. This is what I've been talking about. You know what? This is in my 93rd episode. So in the
God bless
92
you.
episodes before that, I've been talking about holistic Chinese medicine, alternative, telling people have an open mindset. You need to learn. You need to learn. People need to learn about their bodies and what
Yeah,
they need to do. And I see so many sicknesses. My cousin right now, he's been in assisted living for 10 months because he's ill. And I just don't, it's now with this new
yeah,
thing. He has that myostevia gravis,
hmm,
and I don't know what's going on, really,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Well, I'm happy to test one of your pictures on the house for having me on your show. If you want,
Oh,
just
okay.
connect with me, and I'll be kind to you and grateful. You know.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you. Now,
Yeah,
this is
sure.
really good. I want to share this out and tell a lot of people to share this episode because they need to hear this, especially the parents that I know have children that I've met, and just beautiful children and all different levels of the spectrum. One from not from nonverbal, but again, now these children are like one of them is nonverbal, but she's super smart.
Yeah,
She types it up on the tablet and then it speaks for her.
yeah.
So she
That's
has that.
beautiful.
But again, now you got technology. And we were talking
Yeah,
about that, the effects of technology. That's another problem. So they're walking around with these tablets all day long or a phone because everybody's so addicted to their cell phones and they're causing more problems.
correct. Yeah, we go so far as to actually in homes rewire the fuse box, in the basement so that at nighttime the bedroom has no juice, even the wall sockets. In other words, shut off all the energy in the bedroom.
Mm,
No Wi-Fi router, no smart meter on the outside of the wall, no cell phone. And the results are in the literature that when you reduce the toxic load of the electromagnetic pollution, especially in children, they quiet down.
wow.
But science, that in the literature they talk about the telecommunications industry being the new cigarette industry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard that. The person who does the shun guide that I buy from, her husband died of a brain tumor because he was an electrician
Yep.
and he died of a brain tumor. And then she got a brain tumor, and thank God she's fine. But that's why she learned about shungite and started really researching this stuff because, her son was only a year old when he died. It was very sad. And
Yeah.
nobody knew this back then, 30 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah. You got to remediate and even put like we put Faraday cages in rooms and canopies hanging from beds with the materials that
Hmm.
reflect all of the electronics.
Wow. Well, it's a good thing to know, and more steps that we have to do. But it's something that it takes a little time or money, but you need to do it to stay healthy, and especially if you have a child. Anybody
Yeah.
out there who has babies, please don't have the router anywhere near where you sleep. That's why I always.
Yeah. It's ironic when you say babies. You know what the biggest offender is? And nobody would even understand this, but it's the baby monitor in the
Oh,
in the cribs. And every mom wants one and has one because they want to hear everything. But that's putting out more EMFs than anything.
oh my goodness
So if we
gracious!
could spread that word, I know we got to
Yes.
find an alternative. Maybe there is one, but that's been proven upside down by all my electrician friends that check
Wow.
the amount of juice that is in that unit.
Right.
You
Yeah.
never
I guess
think
you
it,
have to
but
go.
that's a problem.
I never thought of that. No, I mean,
No,
when I had them was old school, so it wasn't Wi-Fi, right? It was
right,
just a little monitor, like a walkie-talkie. So it
right.
was different. You just
That's
hear
right.
them. Now they have the TV and all this.
All that stuff. Yep. It's not like a
No, my
transistor
God.
radio like we grew up on.
Exactly. With a little antenna.
That's
Or
right.
the aluminum foil for the TV.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
So wow, wow. So everything is now. I mean, technology is awesome, but now we haven't. I guess our society is now trying to fit in with technology. How do we work around all this stuff that we've been using for so many years? And that's when all these sicknesses are coming out.
Exactly. But nobody wants to talk about it. Why do you hear anybody saying, why is autism so rampant these days? There's no discussion.
It's ridiculous. I don't understand why they don't talk about it. I asked that
Well,
question. I'm like, why? Why
yeah,
is it the food? Because I'm
yeah,
always saying about eat, healthy fruits and
yeah.
vegetables.
Well, how many decades did we go before we finally got hit over the head that cigarettes cause cancer? What'd that take? 20, 30, 40 years, right?
Yeah, and that's what it's doing now. It's 30 years now of computers, right? And now we're
Yeah,
learning now. The more advanced we get, and the more stuff we use at home, and it's become so prevalent in the homes now. Everybody has Wi-Fi. Everybody has a Wi-Fi TV or a Wi-Fi, Bluetooth music. Everything has some kind of Wi-Fi.
smart this, smart that, right?
Not too
It's
smart.
funny. I'll tell you when people come into our office, like I'm gifted, so I can tell by looking at somebody if they're dysregulated after all these years. How about so many of the people? I look at their wrist and they have a smartwatch on their wrist.
Ah,
That's biohacking their system.
oh,
Just think about that. You're counting heartbeats, right? How many beats per minute when you count your steps, all that stuff. So that's interfering with your heartbeat. It's circumventing your heartbeat to count.
oh, wow. Never
And
thought of
nobody has
that.
any idea. They think this is a beautiful thing. I'm exercising, I'm getting my steps in. Meanwhile, the autonomics, your mind body connection, is you're checked out because you're superseding your heart rate and heartbeat by biohacking.
Oh,
And then they wonder why they're not sleeping, why they have digestive issues, why they have brain fog. Because we test the watch right in the moment. We can test the watch to see if it's affecting their health, and that's what we do.
oh my goodness. So those
That's how
Fitbits.
radical this smart stuff is.
Wow, I never knew that. I was just talking about that today. That I was
Nobody
going to get
knows
a
it.
smartwatch. I'm not getting one now.
Yeah, nobody
No
knows it.
smartwatch.
Nobody knows it. Same
Wow,
with you with the shunga in the back of the phone. Every client in our office walks out of our office with a cell phone chip for them and their kids.
that's wonderful. That's wonderful that you're doing that. Yeah, I just learned
Yep.
about Shungite only a couple of years ago. So I
Yeah, it's
just learned
amazing.
about
You
it.
can buy it online, really reasonable, and you put it all around your house.
Yep. Yep. Get pyramids, get the necklace. I have a big
Yep.
rock. My husband has one. He wears it all the time,
Yep.
especially,
You
by
carry it
here on the
in your
necklace for the
pockets
heart.
even when you go, your purse, your pockets when you travel.
Yep. Yep. I have like a little Shungite, like round one. I have it in my purse.
Yep. Yeah, I'm the
And
same way. Keep it in my pockets when I go out.
yeah, I tell people and they look at me, Shungite, what do you
Uh,
mean?
if
My
I go
even
to
my
the
kids.
mall or if I'm
My kids are
around
like,
any,
they think I'm crazy. Mom, you're crazy. You're doing all this
uh,
natural stuff. I go, trust me, you're gonna look at my videos years from now and say,
that's
Mom
right.
was right.
Buying time.
Because our video will be longer, be longer than we are. So,
Yeah,
but
absolutely. We're paving the way
well,
for them.
yeah. So, well, doctor, thank you so much. I know they can reach. I put your website here. Let me just put. I put your website innerharmonywellness.com so people can find you there. And I
Yep.
know on the website you have some. You can go on there, get a consultation,
And
and
the
it says contact.
consultation is free, by the way. We do a free 20-minute phone consultation.
Oh wow.
And our
Okay.
prices are reasonable. We do not take insurance, but we try to keep it affordable for people. We even have payment plans if it becomes into like a longer term issue.
Well,
So we
that's
try
very
to
good
keep
to
it
know.
very real and help people out, meet them where they're at.
That's very good. And like you said, you do virtual, so people don't even have to come into your office, so you can reach anybody in the world.
That's right.
So, Yeah, that's awesome. I'm gonna tell my cousin about that because he's a very intelligent man. He used to be a teacher for 35 years. So that's what's interesting. How some people are intelligent in one thing, but not intelligent for their health.
Exactly. Yeah, it's fascinating that way, isn't it?
Yeah.
They'll argue with you about eating vegetables, but yeah, they're so bright. Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
but this is awesome. Well, thank you. Keep doing what you're doing, doctor. And we'll spread the word out as much as possible to get people healthier and get rid of these toxins that we have in our body. And I'll definitely call you because I want to get rid of this final, whatever I got left to see what it
Absolutely.
is.
Sure. Happy to help.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Grateful to be on your show. I really enjoyed it, Alida.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
So everybody, wow. When I do these shows, I learn so much from people. I learn from everybody that comes onto my show. And it's satisfying for myself to know that what I say is true. What I've been researching, this is all true. I've been telling you guys out there for the longest time about quantum energy and like scalar light and different alternative medicines to clear your bodies of these metals. I have a family member that they found out he has microplastic in his system and almost killed him. So, I'm going to tell all my family and friends that I know of this to call Dr. Amato because this is important. We have to get rid of these toxins in our bodies, and we don't realize that it's not just the food, but it's everything around us. So, I don't know how many times you go outside and you smell some weird, or somebody's driving with a tar truck and you get all that soot and all the smell comes into your car, or you go by the the garbage dump and you get all the fumes coming from the garbage, and that's all affecting us. All that stuff we breathe affects us, and especially then it's affecting us. Plus, on top of it, we already have something going on in our bodies that you don't know, because who knows what you ate that affected your body, or what's still living in there, what bacteria, organisms, viruses, and things like that. So please check out Inner Harmony Wellness. Here's the website again, and please go there and get healthy. Basically, that's what I say: get healthy and get right. And remember, like I always say, it's never too late to reboot your mindset. So every day is a time for you to become a better person, and a healthier person. So I thank you tonight for watching the show, and I appreciate you, and let's get healthy. I'll see you next week. Bye.